Greetings, viewers and voyeurs. I'm not got that funk. I don't know where the funk is, but I'm staying in a pretty funky Airbnb right now with some strange taste to it. So I figured that I'd post a video to the Breakfast Club since I have some free time. And I've caught up on Breakfast Club videos, and I watched Brock's video, The Democrat Deity Complex, and Kazum's response to it, and I'm going to now chime in. So I think Brock has a very valid perspective. It's not helpful to paint the entire Democratic Party with that brush, but definitely, if you're thinking about Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden or Joe Manchin, those style of Democrats, I really do think that Brock's onto something. They do not feel like the decisions that they make are quite beholden to the people anymore. But I don't think that what Brock's saying applies to Democrats like Elizabeth Warren or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or Bernie Sanders when he wants to be a Democrat, right? So there's a rift in the Democratic Party, like Kazum said, that it's right now it's like herding cats, and that rift is that there's a lot of Democrats who are basically Republicans. Moderate Republicans and moderate Democrats are very much alike in some senses. In that they'll vote with Republicans, they'll bring up ideas in the Republican vein in order to shoot down other ideas. One example of this that's really great is Beto O'Rourke in his approach to Medicaid for All, which is Medicaid for America. That's his brand of it, right? Which is a very incrementalist stance on Medicaid for All. And it is not a completely Republican style argument, but it's headed that direction versus AOC or Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren wanting the full kit and caboodle right here, right the fuck now. Let's not wait, in our lifetimes. Let's see it. But I think what Dems are frustrated with right now is the actual people voting for the party. Those people, when I say Democrats, those people are frustrated with the way that the Democratic Party is not so democratic anymore, right? So it's supposed to be Republicans who don't believe that the average citizen could be educated enough to make decisions. That's the word republic. You vote for somebody who represents you, and then they make decisions. You're supposed to have the smarter people representing people, and then they make the decisions. Versus the Democrats, the Democrats who, they keep getting reminded by Republicans that we are a democratic republic. When they want full democracy, one vote for one person, get rid of the electoral college. That's one of their ideas. A direct vote. That's what they're supposed to be for, and yet you get people in the Democratic Party who are not for that. They very much look like they are cut from the Republican ilk, or just the the position that the fight between Democrats and Republicans should be maintained in a status quo of, tipping either way in a little pendulum, rather than letting any of the other tiny parties in on the party that's being had. It's there seems to be on both sides of the coin there. Like, let's just preserve our status quo because both of these parties, hold the lion's share of all the power in the country. So it behooves us to keep this a dichotomy rather than what you see over in Europe, where there's like 7 different political parties sometimes, and they have to have runoff elections and whatnot. So, yeah, I think that the Democrats are, the people who vote Democrat, they are fed up with the fact that the Democrats are supposed to be the party of, direct democracy. But they're not, right? At least the Clinton-esque ones. They're not, right? This is the same thing with, I'll say, the log cabin Republicans. They are fans of the party that, conservative as it is today, it's the party that freed the slaves with Lincoln, right? But now, which of the parties is more, we'll say, prejudiced against minorities and doesn't like immigrants, right? So they've got this conundrum, like, this is not the party that it was in the past that I really love. What is this? Ew, And I really think that when you look at the Trump derangement syndrome, as it's been called, and I have contracted more than once since Trump has been elected, when you look at it, I think that what Democrats are going to be frustrated with right now is that the impeachment of President Bill Clinton set a precedent that they just don't like, in that impeachment really didn't mean anything. Richard Nixon, a generation prior to that, saw that he was going to have tarnished the party, so he resigned, right? Bill Clinton, he's impeached, and he's like, you know what? What does impeachment really mean anyway? Ha. I'll just stay here as president and keep getting blowjobs, And now, if Trump were to get impeached, if it were put to a vote and somehow his own party flipped on him, is he stepping down? Fuck no. Impeachment doesn't mean anything at all. So there's no way for them to meaningfully get rid of Trump without voting him out in 2020. And in order to do that, they've got to come to terms with the fact that their party is the more fractured party. And in the end, they need one side or the other of this rift to agree to support the other if they're going to oust Trump. And it's not looking good. And as far as the Trump derangement syndrome and people not being able to remove Trump from the situation, I will just say that I will give Trump credit for being able to monopolize headlines and live rent-free in people's heads. I will say that is his gift. Okay? He has the gift of pissing off all of the liberals all of the time. And I think this is a horrible thing to say about humanity, but I think part of the reason that some of the people, in that election voted for him was they just wanted to trigger libtards. They wanted to see the screechings. They wanted to see everyone upset all the time and flipping out, because some people just want to watch the world burn. And yeah, that's all I got. Thank you all for watching The Breakfast Club. Tune in next time, because I think we might get some actual funk. Some funk that you all are used to. Maybe we can get another installment of the funk. You think? Maybe? I hope.